Okay, just one more screen and we're all done with 1 John chapter 4. John has been talking a great deal about loving one another and about the source of this love, which comes from God, and he's going to finish this chapter with very much the same theme. We love one another. So this could be an indicative. We love one another because he first loved us. It could also be a hortatory subjunctive. Let us love one another. We should love one another. I think it's much more likely to be an indicative this time because of the presence of this word. I think as a subjunctive, you probably would be more likely not to include the we, but it could be read both ways. The form is the same. We love one another because he first loved us. And again, we're using the aorist because John is thinking specifically of the specific act of love that God expressed when he sent the Son to live self-sacrificially and then to give his life as a hilasmos and as a sotera for our sins. So, we love because he first loved us. If someone says that, now let's just pretend that this says, he loves. But actually it says, I love, right? If someone says that he loves God, and if he hates his brother. So you would need this to be a third person singular in order to translate it as that he loves. The only way to really solve that is to say, this haughty introduces a direct quote. This should actually be a capital A. This should be considered as in quotation marks. If we view this as a direct quotation, the grammar works just fine. I think that's how we ought to read it. It's one of the ways that haughty is sometimes used. Some editors put a capital letter there to help us figure that out. I wish the one that I'm using here would have done that, but they didn't. So we love him because he first loved, we love, actually, if you memorize this verse in the King James, it would have had this word in it. We love him because he first loved us. That word is not actually present in the best manuscripts. So this isn't about we love God because God loved us first, although that's also true. It's about we love. We love one another because God first loved us. Both are true. This is about mutual love within the community. If somebody says, quote, I love God, and if this same person hates. So this aon is going to have two different subjunctives as the conditional. If he says this, and if he hates the brother of him, he is a pseustes. Again, this is bringing back what we saw already in chapter 2, or actually in chapter 1 already. We would imagine that he would say, if you claim to love God, but if you hate your brother, then you need to work on the application. You need to improve your performance. You need to line up your interpersonal relationships with your relationship with God. John isn't that generous. It's not that we're just falling short in how we express our love for God. It's that we don't love God in the first place. Our confession is wrong. We claim that we love God, but we actually don't. There's no such thing as loving God and not your brother, according to John. Not loving the brother is not loving God. How do we love God? By loving the brother. It's not the only way, but it's absolutely essential if our claim to love God is going to be the truth. So you're lying if you claim to love God but hate your brother. For the not loving person, the one who doesn't love his brother, whom he has seen. So he has seen him, that's why it's accusative, but it's masculine and singular because the brother is. It happens also to agree with it in case, but that's more coincidence rather than design. This one's an accusative because it's the object of this verb. This one's accusative because it's the object of this verb. So, the one who doesn't love the brother whom he has seen, God whom not he has seen, not he is able to love. So it's pretty clear, straightforward, just the word order is completely different than we would do it. So the one who doesn't love the brother whom he has seen isn't able to love God whom, isn't able, here's the not, he has not seen. You can't make love for an invisible being true without first making it true in a visible relationship. If I can't love this person, there's no way to love God, because this is how I love God. I love God through my love for other people. Again, not only through that, but that's the point that he's making here. The expression of love for God that John is trying to promote within the community is the love that they have for one another. And this commandment, tautein, tein, entolain, remember that this demonstrative pronoun, or adjective I should say, stands in what we call the predicating position to the noun regularly, but we still translate it attributively. This commandment. And this commandment we have from him, namely that, so we have a commandment that we do something. This is now going to be a subjunctive after hina, and the hina actually isn't a purpose subjunctive, it's the content of the command. This is the command we have from him, that this person love also this person. So this person is commanded. The command we have is that this person love this person. So this is subjunctive after hina, even though the form is the same as the indicative. This person is the loving God person, and this is his brother. So we have a command that the ones who love God also love their brother. Precisely consistent with what Jesus always said when people talked about the greatest commandment. What's the greatest commandment? Love God. But the second goes along with it. Love your neighbor as yourself. You can't fulfill the first one if you're not fulfilling the second one. Again, as always, John speaks in these radically extreme terms, but he doesn't mean to say that if there's something slightly deficient in our love for one or more of our brothers, and we still have a problem with this person, then we don't have any love for God at all. Like there's always a process of moving from where we are towards the goal of more perfectly loving God by more perfectly loving our brothers and sisters. Okay, I've been saying brother a lot. Obviously, it means brothers and sisters, and a good translation should take that into account. And thus ends 1 John chapter 4. Only one more to go.